Good morning, all around the world. This is Dr. Bill Williams on the Influencers Podcast, and another edition today. We're going to introduce you to Alison Kennedy, who is with KPR Inc. And I'm so glad to bring Alison on today on the Influencers Podcast. So, welcome to our podcast, Alison.
Well, thank you for having me. Good morning.
It's always good to get somebody up on the West Coast and introduce them to the East Coast time. Thank you for being up so early.
It's my pleasure. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Yeah, well, let's get started right away and find out really where you come from, what happened, how did you get surrounded by influencers that led you to do what you're doing today?
Well, that I think that's pretty easy. I grew up in the Philippines, but then we moved to New York. So I grew up there, and I think the people that influenced me the most, I don't want to sound so trite, but are my parents. My dad was a career officer in the Air Force. He was very tough on us, but he instilled in us that you need to have confidence and always walk into a room with your head up and don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something. And my mom, she always created a really beautiful home for us, always cooked meals. And, I think, and my grandmothers too were just unbelievably strong women. Neither of them had to work, but they both did. They were just they always said to my sister and I, don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't do something. And I think that was instilled into us in a really young age. And I've held that motto since. I've also, I think, given that to my kids. So anyway, that's I always as a kid was busy decorating stuff, doing stuff. If I had a party, if I had a pizza party, if I had a birthday party, I always wanted somebody to walk away with an experience. And I think that's what started my whole career in PR and events, is that I wanted everyone to always feel like they walked away having an experience. And I've built that into my career.
I think that's wonderful. I think if you can combine experiences in life into uh, your passion and then make it into a career, what better way to go? I'm sure
Mhm.
you didn't just arrive at your success without going through a lot of trials. So tell us about your greatest failure story. What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
Yeah, that is such a good question, because we always love to pump up our successes, but I do think that talking about some of the things where you make mistakes definitely it makes you learn more and it pushes you, right, to improve. So I we took on an event at KPR, my partner and I, at one point where we were like, "Oh, we can do this," right? And it we made a beautiful event. The aesthetics of it were incredible, but the actual attendance was horrible because it wasn't our expertise, right? It wasn't our normal purview, and we were a little arrogant about thinking that we could just push through and do something that wasn't what our norm was. And it really taught me a couple things. One is, don't be arrogant. Two, it the value of the relationships that we have, especially in PR and marketing, are really essential. And that it just showed me that we've really built up certain relationships that help us in our area of expertise. And that if we want to expand into something else, we have to nurture those relationships. And we didn't have them. The thing wasn't like a dismal failure, but we like to show up and succeed 150%. And it just really showed us that in the future, if we're going to take on something, we have to make sure that we know what we're doing.
Well, failure did lead to your success, obviously, because you've done so well. But, people out there have reasons they fail. What do you think the top three reasons are that they do?
I think echoing one of the things I just said is taking on too much, right? Not just thinking that you can do things that you might not be great at. I think that people get I've seen it, especially with clients, is you are not focused and you don't have a strategy. and there's just too much like shooting, throwing spaghetti on the wall. I think focus is the key to really figuring out what you're going to be good at, because you want to do everything, right? And I find I do this still, right? And I have to like rein it in and say, okay, we've got to do this, we've got to do this in order for us to succeed. And it's seductive to want to do it all, but you really have to pick and choose the things. And I think people not communicating, that's a huge failure, is poor communication. And it is one of the places where I find things fall down in business when people aren't clear, they don't get back to you, there isn't a way forward. So those are my way, those are my ideas of feeling.
Well, I agree with you. Lack of focus, lack of communication leads to failure in so many ways, and you nailed it.
Yeah.
Let's do a lightning round talking about what motivates you internally, Allison.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I thought I had turned this off. My like what motivates me internally would be knowing that that I've done a good job. I like the feeling of satisfaction. I love taking on a project, and I love being able to know that I killed it.
Perfect. What are your top three success secrets that others can model from?
You must get back to people. That is one thing. Answer people, have integrity, and be honest.
What is your company's motto?
You never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Obviously, that's a good one. So, why should somebody buy from you?
Because we will always deliver 110%, and that isn't, that's not that standard answer. I just know that when we decide to take on a project, be it an event or doing your strategy or your PR, we're always going to come with an amazing set of ideas. We're going to focus, and we're going to help you at the end of the day be an extension of your company. We're not just somebody you hire. We like to be an extension of the brand that we work with.
That's perfect. So, who is your ideal client?
Um, that that's a good question. I'm like, there's I don't know if there is an ideal client, right? But there definitely is. I think that somebody who's got focus, has a great idea, and will listen to us because we do know what we're doing.
Well, you got to find them. So, how do you do that?
We have been so lucky. When I started KPR, we started with a really amazing set of clients. And we've never had to do any advertising. We've never had to ever go out. We've always been word of mouth. And we have built our business completely on referral. And I think that says a lot about us, and not from an arrogant standpoint. It just knows that people, if you ask us to do something, we're going to do it, and we're going to deliver. And people know that, and they refer people to us. We've never ever had to go drum up clients, which I am incredibly grateful for.
And the cheapest form of advertising is word of mouth, and you must do a fantastic job with that. So, congratulations. What
Thank
would
you.
be your ideal clients, products, and services that they would choose from you?
What the we have a menu of stuff that we do well, and we stick to that, which are, we do events, we do brand activations, we do strategy, we do PR, we take care of social media management, we come up with digital marketing strategy. We kind of do a little bit of everything within that purview, but those are the things that we enjoy doing and we know we're really good at. So don't come and ask us to do your finances, because that's that's not what we're good at.
So, how do you crush your competition?
um well, it's so funny, we do a lot of revision PR. People come to us and are nervous that we, that they're like, we really got burned at our last PR company. Of course, like every industry has that, right? But we just, if we say we're going to do something, we deliver. And I know I've said that a few times, but it is definitely, we don't really take on things that we know that we're not going to be able to kill. And I mean that in the, like, the best sense. We are very strategic, and we know what we're doing, but we also crush our competition because we don't do stuff anymore that we know that we aren't good at. We don't take on tech. Like, we're not, we aren't going to go do PR for a tech company, right? That's not what we're good at. We're good at fashion, we're good at beauty, we're good at lifestyle, we're good at fitness. Those are the places where we excel.
I like that revision PR you let off with because I'm a surgeon and I understand the need for revision sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you handle rejections?
I mean, at this age, I think it's you just, when you're younger, you're like, oh, it's so heartbreaking, right? And you feel so personalized. Now it just comes with the territory, right? I mean, I just this past Christmas, I had a huge event that we've been putting together, a huge strategy, did a deck for, and it isn't that we got rejected, it's just that the person on the other end didn't get their act together. And we killed ourselves for them, worked through the holidays, and like I said, that's what we do. But it's just, you I it comes with the territory. It doesn't kill me like it used to when I was younger.
And then there's that angry client. How do you handle them?
Well, sometimes you have an angry client and you have to figure out, are they angry at you? Are they disappointed? Did something not happen? You really have to dig in a little bit, because a lot of times it definitely usually doesn't have to do with us, because when we say we're going to do something, there's sometimes that people they have stuff that triggers them, right? So you have to back up, because it's easy to be really reactive and get right in there with them. I don't think that that ever serves anybody, and cooler heads prevail. And I, back in the day, definitely had a few people that I got into it with, but I've definitely learned my lesson. It doesn't ever work out if you match their reaction. So you got to stay calm.
So let's go to the other end of the spectrum. How do you deliver a five-star client experience?
By staying in communication, I think it's the most important part of creating an experience for your clients. Knowing that you're available to them, um, making sure you're reporting, you're giving them clear reports and understanding about what you're doing, where you're going, and staying in communication with them and having meetings with them so that they understand, and then delivering the results that you promised when you first took them on. You can't not deliver what you say you're going to do.
You obviously do a good job of that because you do all of your marketing by word of mouth and have created brand ambassadors. So how would you say you do that?
We definitely, our brand ambassadors are our clients, and they're, like I said, many times they're our biggest advocates and who have referred other clients to us, and they're happy with what we've done for them. And there's been times when we're at an event and we're doing an event and people can see what we're doing. They reach out to us. So it's definitely, our clients have been our biggest advocates. And so they help us convert our clients because they're our mouthpieces.
That's exactly the way to build a loyal customer base. So I can see you've done that well.
Mhm.
What are you grateful for today other than those wonderful clients?
My kids, my two sons are just, they're phenomenal human beings, and they're 23 and 25, and they're amazing. And they're solid people who I am so proud of. So I'm grateful for them.
Now, I guess they're out on their own yet.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah, yeah. My oldest has a Fulbright scholarship. He lives in Vienna, and my youngest one just graduated from the University of Montana in May, and he's in New York. And he loves fashion, taken after his mom. So he's out there doing that. So they're solid. They're doing great.
Excellent. So, Allison, how do you start your day?
With coffee. I am not that person who loves to tell you that I wake up at 4:30 and I go jogging. I am like, I get up early, I go to bed late, but I just need my moment in the morning. So I usually have a cup of coffee, I do my journaling, and I ease into the day around 6:30 and, get going at 7. I am not I'm not Tony Robbins. Like,
So, what are you going to do to achieve your goal?
um, It's funny that you say that because I was thinking the other day, I'm like, I feel like I've knocked a lot of stuff off my bucket list, and I think it was time to revise it. And, ideally, at the end of the day, I would love to end up in Italy in, Campania and have a house there. And that really is one of my goals I've been working towards. So it just keep working so that I can get there in the next 10 years.
Oh, wonderful. I'm going house hunting for you. I'll be in Italy later on this year, so I'll keep an eye
Oh,
out.
I know exactly, but if you see something, let me know, please.
Now, if you don't achieve that goal, how are you going to feel?
I just know I'm gonna achieve it, so there's just no doubt about it, so it's gonna happen.
If you have to overcome a challenge, what do you do?
There's been plenty of challenges, right, in this game of life, period, like personal business, family, and I can't say that I do everything with grace, right? But I definitely feel like I'm an expansive enough person where you have to stop and say, okay, is this worth the amount of attention, the amount of emotion, the amount of reaction? And that's all comes with experience and life. I'm not the same person I was at 30 as I am at this age, right? So I definitely I have to you have to do it with grace to a degree. And it's sometimes you have to look ugly to get to grace.
Absolutely so. Now, once you have a revenue generating idea, how do you convince your significant other to go forward?
I think that's hilarious. I don't think my significant other he always says, "Why are you asking me? Because you're going to do what you want anyway." So there's no convincing.
So, the advice you give your 20-year-old self, you go back in time and say, okay, self, here's what you should do to succeed.
I would say you need to have more fun. I was so serious from the time that I started working at 24 years old. And I mean, I have fun. I've traveled the world. I've always had a great job where it brings me to people. There's a lot of things about my experience in my work life that have been expansive and really amazing and given me amazing experiences. But I definitely have, I would say, and I say it to my kids all the time, don't grow up too fast. I just grew up too fast and I just dug in, and there's some things that, I regret not doing. And I would definitely say stop, smell the roses, have some fun. And that's always, what you say when you look back, right?
Perfect. Who's your living mentor and what's the impact on you?
There's an interior designer who I absolutely am obsessed with. Her name is Kelly Wersler. She is I call them my expanders. She's definitely one of my biggest expanders because the way she's built her business, she loves her family. She's incredibly aesthetic and she's, an honest, integral like she's just I love everything about her, and she's impeccable. Like, her style is everything that I wanna be her.
I like it. Now, impactful is a big word. What is the reason it's important to you, Allison, to be impacting others?
I feel that there's so many people that have been impactful to me that have had an effect on me, from professors to mentors that I've worked with in this industry. Fern Malice is a fashion icon, and I'm lucky enough to call her a friend. She is fierce in this industry, and she's well respected. She's incredible, but I also see her impact. I mean, she's been doing this for a long time, and she's formed and, created lots of people's, just, really had an impact on their business. And I think you have to, if you say you're going to do something, your word is your gospel, and you have to show up. If you say you're going to do something, follow through. It's the most important thing to me.
Absolutely. So, what do you want to be remembered for in your life?
I think being a great mom that's an important, it's the best, it's the most important job I've had. And just I think having integrity, because I've deal with a lot of people that do say they're going to do something and they don't do it. And as my whole career, it's been the one thing that I will just go to the ends of the earth to deliver if I said I was going to do something. And my dad was always like, if you say you're going to do something, you better do it. Your word is the only thing you have. So I think that that's a really key, important thing for me.
Excellent. I believe that's exactly the way we should all conduct our business, do what we say we're going to do. How can we, our audience, support you? And tell us about, any links or books or podcasts that you would like to have us go to, any websites.
Um, well, I mean, you can follow me on my Instagram. I only have my, it's funny. I do other people's social media. Mine is my own personal. I don't really do my own, but if you come follow me, you'll see my other clients, and you can follow them. I think, just, if you ever think you want to have a conversation with me about a client, or you want to call me and reach out to me, and you want to ask me some questions about anything I can do to help you, I think helping other people always helps you, right? And I'm not saying that I'm just a completely open book, but there's always, take a risk. Go ask somebody for something that you think, oh, I can't ask that person, right? Because they're too busy, or they're whatever. I never feel that way. I'm always happy to help somebody. So I think in helping other people, it helps me too, because you never know who you're going to meet either, right?
I got started early in my career when I asked my mentors to support me in teaching. And so at 31, I sent out letters to 30 or 40 different of my mentors and asked them to support me in applying for a teaching job. So if you don't have, it's because you didn't ask, right?
Exactly. One of my mentors that I started working with, she was always like, "Well, did you ask?" Right? And and I was like, "I didn't." And she's like, "Well, what, it doesn't hurt to ask. If they say no, they say no. But what if they say yes?" So you never know.
Yeah, one of the things you want to ask anytime you're having a guest on your show is what was your experience about being on the show? So there's your question.
All right. Well, I think that this experience has been wonderful. It's so lovely to meet you. I love getting our message out there, and I love hearing how other people impact, and what their business is like, and what do they find are their strengths and weaknesses. So this has been great, and I appreciate you having me.
Thank you so much for that, Allison. I'm going to give you the last word and let.
My final word would be just to have fun. Enjoy yourself, and just don't take yourself too serious, but be serious about what you deliver.
Well, there you have it. Allison has given us all the information we need to contact her and her KPR fashion consultancy and media company. So she's been on the Influencer podcast today. This is January the 4th, 2023. And I can't think of a better way to have started off the day with our friend Alison Kennedy. So thank you so much for being a part of our show, Alison. This is Dr. Bill Williams saying stay tuned for more podcast interviews with the Influencer podcast as we roll on the beginning of the new year. Thank you so much for attending, and we'll see you all later.